Hello everyone, I am John with Owl, and this is the grossest van video you will ever watch. It is a video that stinks. It is maybe a video that makes us the #2 van company in the world. Sorry. Bad puns aside, this is a video all about the grossest parts of using your van. That's right, there are parts that we don't really want to talk about, but we need to talk about them, and that involves using the bathroom, how to keep stuff clean, laundry on the road, how to keep your drinking water clean, bacteria. Anyway, this video is going to be all about the ways that I have learned to be stink-free, if you will, on the road. Anyone that's met me at a van show, hopefully I smelled glorious, but bear with me in this video. Now let's get some stuff established beforehand. We're going to be talking about poo-poo, and that's not a very fun word, and I've already kind of toddlered it a little bit. So one of the things I want to use is Storyteller recently came out with a van with a bathroom, and they call their bathroom the boom boom room because that's where the boom boom happens. And so from now on, for the sake of this video and to pay a tribute to them, we are going to call #2 boom boom, because that's nicer than continually saying poop. Okay, so let's get started. I am working with a brand new van because when I show you a toilet and a cassette and all those things, I want this stuff to be brand new. We don't want to see anything else. So the first thing we want to talk about is the cassette toilet. And some people choose not to use it. I don't know how you camp without using it, but it is a really simple and fantastic. It's one of the best things about vans because it's removable. So for those of you that haven't ever used your cassette toilet, it's really easy to clean, and you can dump it in your own toilet at home. The best place to dump it, in my opinion, is a porta potty. And the reason for that is as you're dumping it, if the porta potty is not full, there's a good distance of travel for the boom boom to avoid the ever-hated splashback. So my favorite thing to do is when I'm done camping at the exit of campgrounds, and a lot of times there's porta potties, I will empty the cassette there. So when it comes to your cassette, it's not just a set it and forget it. You're going to need some sort of treatment. Now, here are a couple of options that I have used and like. This one works really well. It's called Happy Camper Odor Free, and what this does is these are biologics that will break down what is in the boom boom to make it not stink stink. And this one is a powder, so maybe a little bit less ideal. One of the ones I really, really like, I just got a new box of it, is this one. It is the RV Toilet Treatment Max. Definitely need Max. We know David Leash needs Max. A lot of Mexican food. These are cool. Don't eat them. Gen Z and Gen A, whatever you are, it's not a Tide Pod. Go eat your Tide Pods. Don't eat these. So the way these work is you drop them in your cassette, but you have to have a little bit of water or liquid in there to make these things function. So what I do is I fill my water tank, obviously, before I go camping, and then I will drop a, what do they call these things? Tablets, drop-ins. I'll drop a drop-in in the cassette and then fill it with some water so that can kind of disperse, so that once you start using the cassette, it's going to already be in there ready to digest all of the boom boom. And you're going to need some additional liquid in there. So I'm going to take you inside here and let's talk about what's happening. So here's your toilet, and the basic operation of the toilet is this. You've got, a lot of people don't realize these swivel. So if you're someone that wants to go to the bathroom on the road, and by the way, gray Owl shower mats, available now on owl.com. These toilets swivel, so you can go to the bathroom this way, and some people that doesn't work very well because their feet are hanging and so on, but if you're solo camping, I typically go use it that way. But you can also turn it sideways, and that will allow you to close the door if you're one of those people that enjoys your privacy during the boom boom. You've got a fill indicator here, which will tell you when it goes red, that's no bueno. That's when you got to find the Porto to dump your cassette. And then this is your water fill. So typically, I'm sorry folks, we're getting real here. We're going to talk about some things. You got to get the walls wet. all right? Because you don't want the boom boom to leave the stripes on the toilet. So the first thing I do before I use the toilet, and unfortunately this vehicle has no water in it, but I push that button and I get a little bit of water in there. And then what I do to keep this valve, which by the way, down here you open and close this cassette like that. And again, this is brand new, so all of this is like whatever was in the cassette when it was brand new from the factory. That is not actual use. So this lever down here opens and closes that flap. So what I typically do, because you've already used your drop-in pellets or your powder, sorry, it's a little bit warm in here, so getting the sweat going. I open that flap because you shouldn't have stink, because you've already prepped it by filling it with some water and dropping in one of the biologic tablets. So when you go to the bathroom, I like to first wet the sides and then open it up so that everything can travel right down into the cassette. Because when you have this closed, the boom boom is going to hit the cassette top, which is going to leave some stuff. So I like to boom boom with that open, and then a lot of people will go to the bathroom separately in like jugs and stuff like that. Go number one in jugs. I get it, on the road, always drive safely, but once you're at your campsite, unless you're planning on being there for a really long time, it's actually really beneficial to have additional fluid in there, because you need fluid for that you know, biological agent to break down everything. If it's all solid in there, you can't really break that stuff down. So you're going to want to put fluid in there, whether it's water or number one or whatever. And then you can close this. And here's a little tip that I have. These can get brittle over time. So I keep a can of Flex Seal, and again, brand new van, but I keep a can of clear Flex Seal. And what I do is, like, once a season, I will spray over the caulked areas, and I will spray over this, because this plastic gets brittle over time, and by spraying over it, you don't get a leak. Anyone who's ever been to like gas stations that have this type of button and it's pressed over and over and over again and it starts to crack. So I will actually put some Flex Seal on top of this. I know it sounds weird, but it's clear, and that allows this to maintain its seal over time. Not something you need to do right away. So while we're in the bathroom, I am going to go grab something else that is important. Pardon me. You want your... Here. I'll take a seat. So, don't worry. This video is not getting that weird. This is RV toilet paper. Now, you don't have to use RV toilet paper, but what RV toilet paper does is it is meant to break down in the water and be much... kind of smoother and turn into like a pulp, as opposed to being big balls of toilet paper. And let me take this opportunity to say, absolutely unequivocally, do not put any wet wipes, even the wet wipes that people say are degradable or whatever. It's BS. They're lying to you to make you buy them and use them. If you're going to use wet wipes, they've got to go in the garbage. They can't go in the cassette because they'll clog stuff up. They'll get caught on... You've got stuff that moves in there, like latches and vents and all that stuff, and you cannot have something that doesn't break down. This stuff, if it gets caught on something, over time it will break down into a kind of liquidy pulp that will pour out with everything else you pour out of your cassette. So do me a favor and get either some RV... That was a big fighter jet. Get some RV toilet paper, or you can get the crappiest paper, sorry for the pun again, that one ply that you find in like truck stop bathrooms that is just so paper thin, that stuff disintegrates pretty well. I've even had okay luck with regular toilet paper, but look, we're not glamping to the degree where you need one of those 4 plies that you could sleep on like it's a cushion. So let's go with a thinner toilet paper so that it breaks down in there. And then what you're going to want to do is run a fair amount of water when you put the toilet paper in there to get the toilet paper to go down the flap. So again, I have the flap open. I'm running water until all that toilet paper goes down. And that's nice too, because you're adding fresh water to make sure that that water allows for the movement and the digestion of the boom boom. So I think that's... Trying to think with the cassette. Well, there's a few more things we want to talk about with the cassette. Now, one of the things that confuses me, oh, hit my sync button. One of the things that's always confused me is the fact that there are locks on the cassette door. Now, I'm no thief, but if I was going to steal something, it's not someone's cassette. That is nasty. And if someone wants to steal a cassette, have at it. Steal away, because that is nasty. So I don't even lock mine. You can lock it if you want. I don't. Oftentimes with these, what I will do is, because water does get in here, I will take stuff like this. Whoops, you can't see. I will take stuff like this and I will wrap it in wiring loom wrap. In fact, I think this Revel over here. So this one, don't worry, it's just dirt. See how this is much cleaner and it's all wrapped? You can see here, this is spray paint, by the way. Don't be alarmed. So anyway, it's wrapped, it's much cleaner. It's not going to get caught on this. So that's that. So coming back over here, this is your cassette. So when you're going to use your cassette, it always goes in. And see how that wire's just kind of sticking in the way? You can also use, you can kind of tuck it back in there and then also just like use like a cable tie or something to get that out of the way. But when you push in your cassette, make sure you don't hit any of those wires that are there. So when you put in your cassette, you're always going to want to have the snout out. And then as you push it in, this thing on top pulls back. All right, this thing on top pulls back. And so when you're dumping it, I take that off. So you always want to go in with the snout out. And the way you take this out is you lift up on this little blue thing and pull. And then you've got a handle on top that you can use here to carry it. And the way one empties this, I take this thing off because you need to have air to come in to fill it up. So then what I do is I will take this, and before I empty it, I will fill the rest of the way up with water. Okay? Because you want to make this flow as evenly as possible. And what you want to avoid, man, this is so gross, are big lumps of boom boom. Because you don't want that to come out and splash in the toilet and then you get backdraft, blowback. It's not pretty. I've been there. You don't want it. So we're going to open this so air flows in. We filled it up with water, and then I usually close it and shake it around a little bit to make sure everything's kind of stirred up, all the toilet paper's dissolving and so on. And then I will turn this out. And then if you're inside of your house, make sure you have spray bleach and a paper towel, because when you unscrew this thing, it ain't going to be pleasant. So you take this, and you don't want it to touch your floors, and you're going to want to set it on top of like paper towels or something. And this also brings up a good point I have on the other side of the van. I'm not going to go get them right now. Rubber gloves. You're going to want to use rubber gloves when you're doing this. So have a set of rubber gloves. I've talked about it before. I use rubber gloves at truck stops because the diesel hoses, or not just truck stops, all gas stations, diesel hoses get coated in diesel and it stinks and you get it on your hands, you can't get it off. People are also gross, so you don't know if they went from picking their nose to, or emptying their cassette to pumping gas. So I use my gloves to not get diesel and other things, and then I use my gloves when working on my cassette. So then what you want to do when you pour the cassette, let me get my tripod. So we've got a lot of water in the cassette. I think you've also got this if you're, I guess, like 90 years old and can't lift a cassette. You can like roll it along the ground. Okay, if you can't lift the cassette, you can't dump it. So you're going to open that. That's ready. And then when we actually pour it, you're going to want to stand off to the side. And you're going to want to try to avoid the water in the toilet. And the same thing on the toilet you're pouring it in. Flush the toilet first, let the water come back up. Again, you want to have the toilet have wet sides so that nothing sticks to it. So then you're going to want to pour along the side of the toilet, not directly into the water. And you're going to want to stand back a little bit because you will get a little bit of splashback. So you want to kind of try to not get that on you. Then what I will do is I will put the cap back into this, and I will go fill this up with water again. Just regular tap water, and then I will close the top latch and I will shake, 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 and try to get anything that's coated on the inside off, and I will dump all that water again, and I fill it up about 3/4. That's about good. There are some people that like bleach the inside and all that stuff. You're going to use it again, so there's no reason to make it like surgically clean. It's just a waste of your time and effort. It's a boom boom receptacle, so you want to get the main stuff out, and so hopefully that about covers our conversation of the boom boom. Now moving on to other aspects that are nice and gross. Oh, here are the rubber gloves that I keep in the van, like you've never seen rubber gloves before. I know you. I heard about you. We also have this. And the nice thing about this is if you do need to use a #1 jug, this is, I guess it's for like weightlifters, and it's super rugged as opposed to a normal jug, but it's not got this cover on it, and you can get all different colors and stuff like that. It makes it so people can't really see what's inside of it. I know people also use stainless steel bottles, but this is not something that really you're going to mistakenly drink out of. And the people that use like the large Stanleys and stuff like that, I'm always afraid someone's going to like mistakenly drink out of it. But if you do want to use something like this, you know, this has a nice cover on it, and that's a nice option there. Now let's continue down the gross path. Isopropyl alcohol. If you haven't learned from my rubber gloves at gas stations, I'm a bit of a germaphobe. Howie Mandel, you're my homeboy. So this is isopropyl alcohol. Why is it green? No, this is not some weird chemical. For some reason, Walgreens sells an isopropyl alcohol that also has a wintergreen smell to it, and it's kind of pleasant, really. And I use this stuff to sanitize my hands, but I also use it for a lot of other reasons. Again, sorry for the grossness of this video, but these are all things you need to know in life. It's kind of like that talk about the birds and the bees, but oh wow, this is horrible. It's the birds and the peas. See what I just did? The other day I went camping with my son, and his name is Ike, but we call him Owl. That's what we named Owl after. Anyway, I brought all my stuff, except I forgot shirts. I had one t-shirt that I was wearing, and I had no others. Now, I'm not a particularly stinky guy in general, but I'm sure some of you watching this video smell like a New York cab driver that hasn't bathed in a month. So, you're going to need to hear this tip. What I did was, I had a shirt, and I didn't want to stink. So, stink comes from bacteria. And the reason that your clothes are clean when they come out of the wash is we wash all that bacteria out. But if you're on the road and you want to wash some stuff, whether you forgot something at home and you need to address a shirt that you have to wear over and over again or something, what you do is you turn it inside out and you actually spray the shirt with the rubbing alcohol. You spray the armpits. So what you do is take your shirt off, the smelly parts wherever you sweat as a human, you would then take this, turn this shirt inside out, and really soak those areas with the rubbing alcohol, and then you hang it up to dry. And the cool thing is, the rubbing alcohol kills the bacteria, which is what the stink is. The stink is bacteria, and the wintergreen smell, or scent, if you will, I guess smell is negative, the wintergreen scent will actually make your clothes smell nice. And what's crazy is you can actually try this at home if you want. Take a shirt that maybe you worked out in or something and spray the one armpit with this, turned inside out, and then leave the other and then let it all dry and really soak it, and then smell it an hour later. And the side that you sprayed with the rubbing alcohol will smell fresh and clean. Now, this is not a substitute for washing your clothes. College students know you can't just have a bottle of alcohol and never go to the laundromat before you bring your clothes back to mom and dad. But in a pinch, if you're on the road for a while, there's no laundry, washer, and dryer, good way to do this. You can also wash clothes in your sink. You can use spot cleaners and fill the sink up, plug it, and actually do a light wash that way. But for me, this is dead simple because you don't need to get the clothes completely wet. You just you kind of spot treat the areas, and then you can hang it up to dry, and it's drying in like 15 minutes. So a good tip there. Fridges. Fridges can get nasty. Not everyone uses their Revel all the time. And what that means is your fridge is not going to be running all the time. Bacteria like closed, cold, wet environments. Well, what happens when you have your fridge? Your fridge is going to, when you turn it off, it's going to get condensation. That's wet. It's dark. Doors closed. It's sealed. It's not getting fresh air. You're going to get a ton of mold growth in your fridge. So anytime you're stopping your van or storing your van, what you do, if you have a fridge, and this particular fridge has this stainless steel bracket that is quite handy because you swing this out of the way to open the fridge, right? This fridge, brand new, nice and clean. But when you store your van, do not close the fridge. Turn all the power off, open the fridge, flip this little lever, and now it can't close. And so that fridge is going to stay open because what happens inevitably is if you just open the fridge like this, you'll go to get something or someone else will move your van or repark it, and this will close like that, and then you'll get mold and mildew. So flip something here. If you are someone that has a different fridge You can take something as simple as a washcloth, drape it over, and that's going to get enough airflow that that fridge is going to dry out inside. You're not going to get mold growth, and you're not going to get mildew. So definitely anytime you park, leave your fridge open. Let's talk about water fill. I personally don't drink the water out of the faucet, and I don't think you should either. But some people do, but I also like to just have clean water in general and not have growth in my tanks and so on. And if you want to go over maybe I'll go over water treatment tanks at another time, because you can put bleach in your tank and flush it out and so on, and that helps keep growth down. But one of the things that I like to do is, this is called Taste Pure, and this screws into your hose. So when you're filling up your van, you can screw this in, and it's got a direction of flow on it. There it is, right? So you're going to screw your hose into one end, and then, excuse me, I put this on the wrong end. And you need to change these, and these are actually going to get clogged over time, and it's also going to slow down the rate at which water goes into your van. So keep those things in mind. But what it's going to do is keep your water clean from bacteria and debris, and it's going to keep that tank cleaner. And the reason I want that, again, I don't drink the water out of my tank, but two things. One, if you ever ran into an emergency situation, the water is going to be cleaner. But also, I shower in it. I want it to be clean when I'm showering, something gets in my mouth. I also wash my toothbrush off in the sink. I don't like to waste water bottles pouring on the toothbrush, so I wash it off and set it up. I've never gotten sick, and I think one of the reasons is that I use this to keep my tank clear. So what you do when you're filling up with fresh water, you plug the fresh water into this, and then the water flows through, and then this goes into your van, and then the water going into your freshwater tank is going to be nice and clean. And if you have to drink it or you get some in your mouth, we know that it's not going to have any like weird giardia or I don't know, what's ever in weird water. Next, we're going to talk about gray water. And one of the biggest and best advantages of a van is that you don't have to go to dumping stations. The black water, aka your cassette toilet, can be dumped in a normal toilet at home. You can also dump it in porta potties. We've talked about this. Gray water. Now, you can't be dumping gray water all over everywhere. It's actually a huge fine. It's like insane. It's like $15,000 a gallon. Someone told me that. I can't back that up. Anyway, here's what I do. Biodegradable soaps. So biodegradable soaps, some of them that I've heard that are really good are made with vegetable oils and these kinds of things. Now, how an oil makes you clean, I don't understand, but I'm not a soapologist. And the reason I use biodegradable soaps in my shower is it allows me to be comfortable dumping my gray water not in a gray water facility. And I'm sure people are going to jump all in the comments about how horrible a person I am, etc. But honestly, water with camping suds, if dumped away from a body of water, we are not dumping this in lakes, we are not dumping it close to lakes. But if you get home and you want to dump it in an area where you know it's going to dry and not run into a body of water or something like that, perfectly safe to do with biodegradable soaps. You don't want to do this with regular antibacterial soaps or these kinds of things that you buy at Target or whatever, because those soaps can hurt plants, they can hurt animals, etc. But these are made to biodegrade, and they're made to combine with other stuff to make basically soap that makes the soap not harmful to the environment. So use camping suds, and your gray water can then be safely dumped in areas where it's not going to hurt animals, plants, or anything like that, and you don't have to worry about traveling to dump stations, and you can get rid of the dump tube. And let's talk about that. It's minivans. Let's take you off this. We're going to sit down and we're going to get nice and personal. Now, that's not annoying. This is called your sewer hose. And the sewer hose is not really necessary on these vehicles because, again, the cassette toilet dumps straight into a toilet, and the gray water can be dumped safely with biodegradable soap. So what do we do with this tube? Well, if you have an owl exhaust, you take it off and you remount it on the other side. It's mirror imaged, you just flip the brackets. But let's say that you were not a smart person, you didn't get an owl exhaust. Well, then many of you will have one of these sewer hose receptacles somewhere on your vehicle that not really used anymore. So what do we have in this one? If it would open, maybe I should follow the little sign that says open.
Let's open this up. What's in here? This is a travel mat, and this gets used for coming out of your van. So here's what I do with this mat. We all want to keep our vans as clean as humanly possible, and dust and dirt is a big no-no, and anyone that spent time in a van knows how hard it is to keep that van clean. One of your best friends is going to be a mat that you can put outside, okay? And here's what we do. We come up and we take our shoes off, and then we can stand on the mat, right? And then when we go into the van, look at my cool dad socks. Woohoo! Yeah, I shouldn't do that. There's probably some weirdos that like my feet. This allows you to go into the van and not have your socks on the dirt or sand or wherever you are dust into your van. But what's going to happen to this mat, it's going to get filthy. You're going to be wiping your shoes off, and it's going to get covered in dirt and sand, and maybe it's a little bit rainy and muddy, and this mat is going to be really, really gross. And so what's going to happen is you're going to be done with your camping, and you're going to shake this off, and you're not going to want to put this back inside your van. It's nasty. So all you do is roll it up, and you've got rubber gloves if you want them. If it's muddy and stuff, you roll it up, and you do the exact opposite of what we did a minute ago, which is you can slide it into your sewer tube holder, and you've got your outdoor mat stored outdoors, and you never have to bring that nasty dirt into your van. We've covered a lot of things, We should be friends by now. You know more about me than anyone should. More about my bathroom habits, and I gotta say, it's been a weird one. Gotta do it, but it's been a weird one. So let's recap what we've learned today. We've learned that no one's gonna steal your disgusting, stinky cassette, so if you lock it, you're weird. If you're gonna shower, use some camp suds that are biodegradable so that it doesn't affect the world, the fishes, and the environment. Get yourself some bleach for cleaning anything that your grossness touches when you're emptying your cassette. It also helps to bleach the toilet, anything you might spill. We're gonna put rags down when we take the plug out of the cassette, etc. We've learned that you may be beautiful, but what comes out of you isn't. And to get rid of that smell, I recommend pods. Don't eat them. If you're gonna go on the road, no one wants to see what you're doing. Get it with a cover. Clean water, get a water filter. Rubber gloves, gas stations, emptying your cassette, definitely nice to have in the van. I talked about Flex Seal. This is also good. The other day on my other van, the sun had baked the lap sealant on the roof to the point where I had a leak on my, around my MaxxAir fan, where I never had a leak before. And I was out on the road, and so as soon as it stopped raining, I sprayed that with Flex Seal, and it kind of spot treated it. Not the way I'd treat it in general. I'd take it off and reseal it, but in a pinch, it works great. I also spray the top of the Tetford toilet with clear Flex Seal so that that doesn't break over time. Then we're also going to tie up those wires if they're in the cassette area. And isopropyl alcohol. This is your best camping washing friend. No, we're not going to put it on while we walk around. You take your clothes off, spray it with the alcohol, you're good to go. And what I do, because the wintergreen scent is a little strong, is I buy regular isopropyl alcohol, and then I buy the wintergreen, and I do like 2-to-1 regular alcohol to the wintergreen. So I think we have recapped. Oh, the one thing I forgot to recap. Toilet paper. Toilet paper matters. Buy a thin 1-ply or an RV compliant toilet paper that breaks down very quickly so that your cassette is not going to come out in glops, which is going to have bounce back, which is not going to be fun for any of us. So hopefully you found this video enlightening. I can't say you found it good. That's weird. If you found this enjoyable, yeah. But this is a weird conversation, and I don't want to have this conversation when we're picking this van up at La Mesa. I love you, Micah, but I don't want to talk about your boom boom. So now we can be kind of anonymous, and you can learn all the ways to get around your van stinking, because when you pull up to get gas, someone's going to want to see inside your van, and they're not going to want to smell anything. And the last thing is, if you ever bring your van in for service, or you bring it into Owl, and we're doing anything, please empty your cassette. Don't bring a van in with a full cassette. That's nasty. But if you treat it properly, it shouldn't stink, but you should still empty it. All right, that's it. we're done with the #2 video of all time, the grossest video you'll ever watch. I hope that you are a clean, safe van traveler, van lifer, and for more information, not on this, but other things, feel free to call customer service. Hope things go well.